I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, would someone like to make a motion? We open the meeting of the town of Goshen Town Board meeting, October 28, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The first thing we're going to do under old business, review the current status of these 5 burger dots. A lot is going on the last couple of weeks. So, Sean, if you'll lead us through that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to follow along.
You need
Can I
a,
get a mic over?
Yep,
Sure.
sorry.
Nobody can hear you probably.
Good evening. I'm just going to follow along the bullets in the order that they're listed, and if there's any questions, please feel free to interrupt. The highway garage, the temporary shoring, we have since your last meeting received the signed contract from Pan Enterprises. We forwarded that to the supervisor. He signed that agreement, and this afternoon, Mary assisted with getting comments on the insurance certificate from your insurance broker. I sent those comments off to Tam, and I would expect in a day or so they would have a revised insurance certificate. And once that's received, my office will issue a notice to proceed.
how long will that take?
The insurance certificate?
No, the job.
It really depends on the availability of materials. There's a lot of steel on the shoreline, and I know steel is one of the items that a lot of contractors have in trouble in. So I will ask them as soon as the notice to proceed is issued, I will ask them for a schedule.
But once they open that building up, they have to take doors down, do they?
Once they install the shoring, yes, they're going to have to remove the door.
All right.
And I've spoken with the highway superintendent about that. Obviously, he's not happy about that. I told him that once the contract starts, we will try to work with him and Tam to figure out the best way so his department is not hampered as, you know.
We're going to get cold weather.
Absolutely.
So,
He needs that
okay.
building because of his equipment and keep it out of the exterior temperatures.
Okay, thank you.
I have a, are you moving on to the second one or you're still doing the first?
It's up to you.
Go-
on your
go for it.
version.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you want, if you're, I thought you had more you wanted to say about number 1.
Nope.
No? Okay. So the shoring amount is 88,000.
That's correct.
Right. And there was talk, at least from the engineer that came in, the forensic engineer came in, that it was belt and suspenders, too much. Apparently, the person that we hired to do that didn't concur with that, and it basically stayed at 88,000.
Well, no, there's a couple items that go into the 88,000. The first is obviously the design, but the second component of that is the bid. We did not get in, because this is an emergency, we're trying to get everything installed before the winter. We did not sit down and have an itemized bid from Tam. It was a lump sum bid. They reviewed the plans, they gave us the bid. The bid was about a page long. I reviewed it. I spoke to the supervisor about it. They had a number in there that wasn't appropriate. They reduced their bid. Originally was 120.
Right.
They reduced it to 88. I understand that engineer's opinion. However, he hasn't offered any comments. I've contacted him several times since he's been on the site. I don't know if he's had a chance to review the plans or actually go through the design calculations or anything like that. If a cost savings or something that would accelerate the work is suggested, we are more than happy to incorporate that into the work. We're not looking to, make this more than it needs to be. We just want to have good, reasonable level of confidence that it's going to do the intended job.
Right. So I guess the ultimate question, and maybe you can answer, maybe you can, is let's say the bid stays at 88,000. There was a report that was issued by the forensic engineer saying that, it was really basically too much and this should be modified, so on and so forth. So then will the insurance company say, well, you bid 88,000, that's fine and dandy, but we're not going for that. We're only going for 60,000, let's say, or whatever they come.
I haven't seen a report issued by the insurance company's engineer. Does the town receive something?
No, I haven't received, as far as I know, I haven't received it.
I can't comment.
But it started at, George, it started at 124,000.
Oh, no,
88. I'm just thinking, somebody's already, I think.
No, I
taken a look at it.
understand that, but the 120,000, that was inflated because of some other factors, right? It was.
It wasn't an inflation. What they did was they used emergency rates, meaning premium rates for overnight and weekend
Right.
work, which obviously isn't the case. Let them do that work during a normal business day.
Okay, no, I just wanted to, okay, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, Sean, go ahead.
And Hamiltonian Park, we have not received anything from Health Department. Supervisor, I know you were gonna try to reach out and see.
I did.
Any luck?
No, I left a message to call me back.
I did as well.
I think he's out of town.
Perhaps.
I don't know. Okay. We're talking about Steve Gagnon, who's the head of the department that does all this work.
Heritage Estate subdivision. After your meeting, we reviewed the developer's calculations for that train line that we discussed at your last meeting. I had some comments on those that I relayed to the developer's engineer. The engineer revised the calculations, resubmitted them. I reviewed those calculations today. I just received the revisions earlier this week. And I have no further comments on the calculations. We haven't received any information or further with regard to the easements or as-built or anything like that. I'm unaware of whether the developer has requested to appear be on one of your agendas.
Yeah. So when do you think this work's going to start?
I don't know, but I would hope that it's soon because there were a couple small items on the punch list that need to be done. And the last 2 or 3 times, the developers indicated that they were small and they would be done together at one time. So I'm hoping that he has received permission from the homeowner at number 54. He's going to return to the site to do the drainage work. And when his crew does that, they'll also take care of these other remaining items.
That'd be good.
Yeah, Mr. Howard would be happy.
I'm sure.
Well, we're all gonna be happy.
I spoke to the guy at the 54 Laurel, and the catch basin that will be, to the side of his house, is the catch basin slated to be behind his fence or on the street side of the fence?
The catch basin will be within his fence.
Yeah, I got the feeling, speaking with that gentleman, that he wasn't, well, we all know he wasn't happy with the process or the engineering up to this particular point. But I think you had said in one of your things that he should hire his own engineer if that was the case, right? Well, not one of the suggestions that was made.
I'm the town's engineer. I make recommendations to you regarding town infrastructure and town public improvements. I can't make recommendations to a private resident about private work on their property or anything like that. So if it was me and he was my friend, I would advise him to get his own engineer to take a look at it so he understands it and he answer any questions he may have.
But Mr. Mumford's engineer is the one that came up with this thing to begin with.
That's correct.
And so Sean just looked at his calculations, he can, that's it. So I think if the gentleman who lives in 54 has a problem, well, he's gonna need to hire someone to.
Yeah.
I reviewed the calculations relative to the infrastructure proposed to be the town's. That's the catch basin and the pipe connecting to the catch basin in the street.
Right.
Is it possible to have the catch basin on the street side of the fence?
Yes, it is, but what would need to happen is they would need to have a drainage swell. There's a drainage swell there now. That drainage swell would need to continue and go under the fence. And it may actually negate some of the reason that the homeowner has the fence. There would be a channel underneath the fence.
Right. Okay.
The next item is Woodland. After your meeting last 2 weeks ago, the highway superintendent and I met out at the site. We reviewed the punch list, we revised the punch list, we eliminated items from the punch list that have been completed. Then this week on Monday, we met with the developer and the paving contractor. They are scheduled to pave, they're scheduled to mill on Monday, and then they're scheduled to pave on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. If everything works out, with your delivery and weather, the paving contractor anticipates being complete with the top course of paving by this.
I'm sure thereafter, the next meeting, we'd be in a position to accept that subdivision.
There are some remaining punch list
Yeah,
items,
they're very
street
small,
signs
right?
and striping, stop bars and things
Sure.
like that, but if the developer completes that work, yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, very good.
Arcadia Hills water storage tank, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the email and the photographs that highway superintendent took today, but they completed the tank today.
Yeah.
So the water tank is completed. There was still some periphery work involved, grading, installation of a fence, some utility line work. But ultimately, the tank is finished and we're hoping to start filling it soon. I'm going to have a call with JCO to discuss water availability.
So this is about 30 days faster than we anticipated, correct?
It is fast. It's behind the original schedule. The schedule was revised because they had difficulty obtaining steel for the tank.
Right.
But the last schedule they have, we are now approximately 2 weeks ahead of that schedule.
Oh, okay. I thought it was December 9th, okay.
December 9th was when they anticipated to be completed. That means all the work was finished and the tank had been filled and tested.
Okay. When do you think that's going to be? December 9th?
Well, frankly, it depends on the availability of water. You know, they're gonna need a lot of water to fill that tank.
Right.
You also have the water demand of that subdivision.
Right.
So we're gonna have to try to balance that. That's why I need to speak to JCO.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I was gonna say, Sean, how are you going to fill that up? I talked to the highway superintendent earlier, later this afternoon. He has some different ideas. You're gonna work that with Roger Kelly to fill that tank with water. He had some concerns.
Yes, yeah, and
Okay.
we've discussed those before, and I think everybody has the same concerns.
Okay.
The wells in Arcadia are taxed sometimes. If those wells are taxed, or if you have a well down, it would be impossible to fill that tank.
Right.
You had a break this past week. If that break wasn't repaired right away as it was by JCO, you wouldn't be in a position to fill that.
That's
tank.
right, that's what he's concerned
But
about.
but the other thing, we've had a lot of rain this past week, and it's running off a lot of course, rather than being absorbed, but we'll wait and see.
And
We've trucked water in before.
Yes, importing water is an option, and I've spoken with the water tank contractor, and they said that we could do it over how long,
Right.
however long we need to do it. So for example, if we can only spare a certain amount of water a day, and it would take us a month to fill the tank, that contractor says that that's not unusual. They run into that from time to time.
And that's gonna be Phil Canarino and myself, not Broderick. They're gonna call the shots on this with JCO. He's not in it.
Well, he just had a concern.
Oh, no, I'm just.
He knows his
Okay.
limitations, he just had a
Absolutely
concern.
valid concern.
Okay, well, he needs to come and talk to us if he's got something. Okay, very good.
Doug, I'm sorry, can I also note, I should have put it on the agenda. We're gonna be flushing water lines this week coming up. So that will affect Arcadia just a little bit for this
Absolutely.
week.
What are the dates of that, you know? Monday,
I'm not
Tuesday?
sure yet, depending on.
Well, it's gonna be
JCO.
raining right through the weekend too. I looked at it ahead, we've got quite a bit of rain coming. Okay, very good.
I drove up there, it's nice colored blue, tank is a nice colored blue.
Anything like that.
I don't know if it's fishing, but it's nice color.
It looks like we stole it from Legoland, same thing.
You had to go there, right?
That's manufacturer standard.
Okay.
Okay. That it, Sean?
That's all I have unless somebody has
Any other questions for Sean? Okay. The next item, thank you very much, Sean. The next item is information. The town received payment from FEMA in the amount of $56,541.60 for money spent by the town to repair the Woodland Road culvert following Hurricane Irene. Irene was in 2011. I think that we did the work in probably 13. So didn't take maybe 3 or 4 months to do the work, but we waited a long time to get that $56,000. Also, information, FEMA also owes the town $49,919.48 for money the town spent to repair the Coleman Road culvert following Hurricane Irene. And it was at the same time, so maybe we'll get another check for $50,000. I'd like to say that money will go into the DB fund, which is for roads, because that's where it came from back then. So that would put us up probably closer to 1.2 million versus 1.1. Although with the price of asphalt, with inflation coming up this year, we may get less roads than even with this $100,000. But that was good news. Okay, we have, review and approve the minutes of the 10/14/2021 Town of Goshen Board meeting. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay. I'm going to call the motion then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the next item is under new business.
Excuse me, Doug.
Yes,
Maybe I should do it on the old business. Can I give you just a very brief update on the Salesian
please,
property?
sure, go for it.
Okay, so, you know, earlier, is that, yeah, it's on here.
Okay.
Yeah. Earlier this month, you know, I met with the mayor one-on-one, and I gave him the whole histories of what has been going on since last October. I was under the impression, when we discussed it, that he was going to bring it up at his board meeting, which was Monday. But he also advised me that we would individually email each one and or discuss what we had discussed with each trustee. So I called as recently as this morning. And he hasn't returned my call, but I talked to the village clerk and asked her if that had been brought up. She wasn't sure if it had or not. Well, really couldn't state factually that it was. And of course, I told her that maybe he had done it individually, but I was expecting them to meet, and he had indicated that he was supposed to meet. So I talked to Rick, and I think we should just continue on, because I told him that our attorneys would coordinate with David Donovan for the resolution and just continue on.
That's what I did. Okay.
That's what we are. And then just one other thing. I know Steve Newhouse wrote us a letter because the historian had brought the time capsule to his attention.
Right.
So I went up to the screen, walked around, and I did see at the footing, there was a date and a piece of that looked like it was a time capsule, 1930, whenever it was built. So what we'll do when the building comes down is just to make sure that we advise the contractor or whoever's demolishing the building to be sensitive to the time capsule, and at that time we'll open it and see what's going on.
Good. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Any questions for Phil?
No.
Okay, under new business, information. Per the Legoland Community Host Agreement, Sunday, November 14th and Sunday, November 28th are being designated as the 2 annual days for community fundraising. That was negotiated by George and John Vandermolen. What this is 2 days every year. We will assign community groups like the Humane Society or GoVac or others, and they get half the purchase price of the tickets. So the 2 annual days, okay, the 2 annual days for the community fundraising, the Goshen Humane Society and GoVac are the 2 groups selected to participate. Okay. You can see the attached letter from Christine Cavalieri dated 10/19/21 for details. And basically, there are going to be 500 tickets that we've asked for. And 250 tickets will be made available to each group. GoVac and 250 for the Humane Society. There'll be $34 per ticket money for each ticket that's sold. So altogether, it could be $17,000 or $8,500 for either one of them if they get out and sell these tickets. And I know the Humane Society is going online, and that's how they're going to approach it. And they're following behind that. So anyway, that is occurring. George, could you comment on what you're doing in that with the GoVac?
Yep. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go online. It's relatively short notice. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops, but anyone who's interested in purchasing a ticket, the code for go back is GOVAC 21. So if you purchase the ticket and you put that code number in, and as Doug said, $34 for each ticket sold would then come to go back. The other question I had is, you know, we have the situation where Goshen residents can get a.
You're gonna have to sell it outside of Goshen.
No, I'm saying, hear me out till the end. What I'm saying is that there's competition that the $67.99
Right.
at first may look like a deal,
Mhm.
but when you look at Goshen residents who can purchase it for, is it half price? Is that what it
Yes,
is?
that's right.
You know, I don't know how this is gonna, work out. Whether it's gonna be great or whether it's gonna be maybe, listen, Goshen people will just go and they'll go and get their own ticket before they would pay the $67.99.
Yes, that's correct. And that's why it's gotta be sold is to people outside of Goshen that this is built on. Okay. Unless someone just wants to really help you and then, you know. Okay, thank you. And by the way, we did share with them that next year we need more advanced notice, but you know, the fact is they're just starting up and they're shutting the 28th of November is the last day they're going to be in operation. They're hustling to just get things done. Okay, the next item is the town of Goshen received 2 new applications for 2 large solar projects, and you can see the attached solar projects to be built in Goshen. The first project is 111 Owens Road, and it consists of 2 5 megawatt systems and 1 4 megawatt systems. And that project is being built on 111 Owens Road. So that will be going to the planning board for their consideration and whatnot. The next one is the Vivian / Broadlee Solar. It consists of 2 5 megawatt systems, one to be built at 29 Vivian Lane and one at 146 Broadlee Road. Here too, that will be going into the system. The application would go start with the planning board. Okay. And I put in your packet a recap to date of all the solar systems that we have. If you count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, for a total of 55 megawatts, okay, or whatever that's worth. Okay. The next, you're right after you, Doc. Review and approve a resolution to re-levy unpaid water sewer charges and a property cleanup charge into the 2022 Goshen Town taxes. The first one is a resolution, and you can see it's for $166,937.20. It involves Hamiltonian Park, Arcadia Hills, Stonehenge, and Scotchtown. Would someone like to make a motion regarding this re-levy of unpaid water and sewer charges?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. This number, the 166.9, is less than what it was a year ago. It was 178,000 last year, whatever that's worth. And Mary just compiled all that for us. All right. I'm going to call the motion in. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next one is a Town of Goshen resolution to re-levy of unpaid property cleanup charges. Okay. Whereas the following charges for property cleanup at 6 Larchwood Drive remain unpaid as of the date of this resolution. Whereas said charges have been determined appropriate to be re-levied upon a 2022 real property tax bill. So this is in fact remaining cleanup charges when they just took that building down. And the SBL is 25-3-14. and it's for $4,348. Okay, would someone like to make a motion regarding this resolution?
So move.
George made a motion, Ken, you second, okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. I'm glad you found that, Mary. To put that in the system, otherwise we've got another year before we got it.
That bill didn't come until December last year. That's why it's,
Got pulled over, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Information, Friday, October 22nd, Scotchtown Water District had a leak in their main. 30 feet of main had to be replaced. Boil water notices were hand delivered to each home and will remain in effect until the Orange County Health Department lifts them. And what that is the laboratories, it's just, they'll lift them the moment the laboratories say, yep, the water's fine to use. And I think they're gonna be done. first thing in
the
morning.
second, yeah, the second lab report came in late today and
Okay.
everything was okay.
Oh,
Right, so, okay, in the morning they can stop boiling water then. Okay. Then on Sunday, October 24th, Arcadia Hills Water District had a leak at the well house. It was near well number 50. There was no service interruption. They were just able to go in there and fix it and put it back online. Okay. The next item is town board meetings for November are going to be held on Monday, November 8th, and Monday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Due to the holiday period. Now that's in the original schedule, but Rick was just looking at that from a legal perspective, so we will not have representation to the next meeting, but we will on there's one on the 22nd. So I'm going to put anything that might have legal implications on the 22nd. Okay, finance, discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run on October 20th, 2021 and October 28th, 2001 in a total amount of $121,315.55. Would someone like to make a motion in that regard?
so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next one, discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay workman's comp claims in the amount of $2,142.70. Would someone like to make a motion in that regard?
So move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next one, discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay manual check run dated September 30th, 2021 in the amount of $15,579.52. Would someone like to make a motion in that regard?
So, second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next one is approve year-to-date budget transfers requested by the budget officer dated October 15th, 2021 and October 28th, 2021. And you can see the attached. Would someone like to make a motion regarding these transfers?
So move. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now, this next item, number 5, is interesting. Christine, our budget officer, submitted a monthly financial report for September. You can see the attached pages. And she's not here this evening, but I had questions. And so I'm just going to talk to her tomorrow. But if you all look at that and you have questions, since she's not here, I certainly don't know how to answer them. I would give her a call or stop by. This is something that the comptroller's office suggested that she do and all the other budget officers do in the state of New York. It's pretty easily done with spreadsheets and the computer, but it is, when I looked at it, I thought, gee, I don't quite understand that. So you'll probably have questions on that. And then the last item is information. Christine Cavallari conducted an accounts payable audit on 10/21/2021. Accounts payable, bill. And the fact is that everyone's fine on that. Does anybody on the board have any other items for the agenda? Then I'm going to go right to the privilege of the floor. Does anybody in the audience have any items for the agenda they'd like to talk about?
Something that's not on the agenda, but.
No, it was, no, whatever's on your mind.
Okay.
Can you state your name? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's hard to say.
Where do you live, sir?
Smithville.
Okay.
So I read that there's a proposal to put a Goshen hospitality center off of Route 17, exit 122.
On Cheechunk Road, that's correct.
Yeah, I just want to get an update to see, is that something that's going to be put in?
Rick, wanna?
Well, it's going through the process in the planning board. It's something that is going in that zoned for that area. And they're going through the process, including an extensive environmental impact statement. And you can watch those meetings of the planning board to find out more of the details, or you can go to the building department and ask them for updates on where they are and look at the plans and everything else.
I think this is going to be put in for Legoland, I guess, so to accommodate people visiting Legoland.
Well, we don't really know what their business plan was, but it wouldn't be surprising if that was part of the calculus for them going there.
Well, the fact is, they bought this years ago. There were three fellows from Long Island. One was in the fast food business, one was in the hotel business, and I think the other one was the money guy.
Right.
And so it's been sitting, and this is a very aggressive plan. And I know one of the planning board members put together 20 pages of detailed things that he had concerns about. So that's the process. So probably the next time you're going to hear about it, it's going to be in March, when they put all that together. The applicant puts all that information together and then addresses each one of those items. We'll see. But it'll certainly be modified for sure.
Well, my concern is that, there's also on the books, 4 million square feet of warehousing that's going to be built, in town, by a developer down in New Jersey.
Sure.
Traffic and trucks and everything else going on. I mean, where's it end?
It might be this one.
Oh, maybe yours.
Yeah.
Turn it off. No. Okay. We do in Goshen, we have one project in the town for one warehouse, and it's out off of 17M. I don't remember the size. It's certainly much smaller than the ones over in, say, like Montgomery. Those are huge. We've got a list of projects, and it's a real diversity of projects. Amy's Kitchen, Legoland, RDM Warehouse, and it goes on and on and on. There are probably 50 different projects that are, and here's how it all happened. When I grew up in the village, it was a long time ago, when all boys got to be freshmen in high school, they had to take 6 months of agriculture, whether you lived in the village or the town. In those days, when you left the village and you got to the town line, it was nothing but cows. There were 150 farms, okay? 30,000 acres of dairy farmland. So we've gone from 150 to 2. So take 148 farms at 250 acres bit a piece. That's why all this land is being sold and people are coming. We've built, I think, in town of Goshen, I could be wrong on the number, but I think in the town of Goshen in the last 15 years, we built 500 homes because people want to come here. And it's a very good place to live and so forth and so on. So change is, we're trying to put a potpourri of different kinds of projects versus all one. I think when you have two gigantic warehouses next to each other and that market goes away, what do you do? So I'm in your corner, and I'm very cautious about what we'll be doing going forward. And that's one of the things that on my mind as well. So you're pretty astute on that one.
Right, I just wanna make sure, because,
Yeah.
you don't want to turn to Rockland County or
No.
the city or.
No. Well, we'll do with the zoning and the coding and it can allow these people, but it's like, you say, well, where is it? Like Orange Ulster Bosie's, that's a huge building. The 911 center, the jail. These are all parcels that Amy's Kitchen, Legoland, all these are parcels that were once farmed. And the families, now it's probably the grandchildren, the daddy went out or granddaddy went out and the land's been sitting there paying tax. Even with these solar farms projects, we've got 15 and they're covering a lot of space, which is good. I'd rather see us that than warehouse. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's smart growth.
Yep.
I'm not opposed to growth, but.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to overgrow either.
No. Just keep coming in there. This will be on the agenda maybe for the planning board in about March, is what I've heard from Kelly and the others because of the volume of information that people put forward on it. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I have a couple of quick questions.
Tell us who you are.
You need the microphone so it gets picked up by the recorder.
And you need to state your name.
Yes, Frank Marsiglio, 16 Smith Road, Goshen.
Okay.
A couple of quick questions. The warehouse you are speaking of, that's not that ex-brewery location. Is that the village?
That's the
That's the
village.
That's village, right?
Yeah. That's where they're gonna put that wine manufacturing.
Right, that's what they're proposing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's gonna be big. They had a public hearing on it in the village.
2 days ago, right?
I went the other day, it's massive, it's massive.
Yeah, they want to raise the height and.
Yes, and even the top, even the
Yeah.
storage tanks, the same height as the building. I think 65 feet, is that in there? I think it's now 45, and what, 60.
Right.
You review the specs.
No, we discussed it earlier today.
I can't
How was
remember
the
either.
turnout
So you
at
can't
that
remember,
meeting?
okay.
Kenny, how was the turnout at that meeting?
The public hearing is still open.
It is.
So there wasn't enough, a lot of questions were asked, they didn't have the information, so they kept it open. So
Okay,
you can inquire at the village and then.
okay, thank you. The other question is, that Legoland's in and operational. I'm just curious. The financial impact should be public knowledge, right? I mean, how it's affecting our finances in town.
We said that at a budget meeting. Again, we negotiated with them a community host fee. And a community host fee is, this is the only location in the world. And they have 150, this Merlin Entertainments company has 150 different venues around the world. We're the only one with a community host fee. And when the site selector came here, I said, I want part of your ticket sales. And he says, well, we don't do that. And I said, well, maybe we won't change the zoning and let you come. Well, let's talk. So I sent George Lyons and John Vandermolen, two of us, two of them, into a room, and they came out. And the first thing they did is we part of the ticket sales. This coming year in 2022, they're going to write us a check for $528,000 for 66 cents per ticket times 800,000 tickets. Now, ultimately, when they're getting up and running, they're going to be up at 2 million tickets. And that 66 cents continues to go up 0.15% per year. So at the current rate, it would be $1.3 million. Now, my feeling and the board, we're going to have to really watch this carefully. That is not tax money. We're not taxing anybody for that. So it shouldn't be spent as tax money. It should go back to the public as a tax refund, so to speak. And your taxes in 2022 are to be minus 4.6% because of that and all the cost reductions that we've been doing, okay? And, but over 30, and this is a 30-year contract, it's gonna be $48.8 million is the most you can would get from. Okay? So it's a lot of money.
That's in addition to the real property, in addition to
Oh,
real
that's in
property
it.
and sales tax.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of tax, they got hotel tax, got sales tax on products, they've got
Property.
property tax.
Right, exactly. So all that information should be, I mean, I know it's not the end of the year or financial year, whatever it might be,
Uh-huh.
but all that information should be public somewhere, right?
It is,
Yeah.
Where
we've
would I-
talked about it.
Where would I find that if I wanted to?
Just call the budget officer and she can make you a copy of all that.
Okay, great.
Christine Cavallari, yeah. Yeah. No.
Thank you.
And she can give you a copy of the, how long ago was that? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went through the town budget for next year and it's all laid out. There's a lot of things. This board is, from my vantage point, done a marvelous job of controlling costs. Your taxes in 2021 are lower than they were in 2013. On top, but on top of that, there's 4.6% next year. And why is that? When in 2006, when most of us got together, we had 9 separate debts. We've paid off 8. We have not borrowed 1 penny in 16 years. And I'll share with you, when you start talking about municipalities or whatever, cities or villages or whatever, they all borrow money. Now we're going to get ready to borrow money to take down Salesian in 2022. And that's a needed thing because of safety. Okay? But just to buy, when we buy trucks, we pay cash. They're $250,000 a piece. We're in a position to do that now. And so, and there's a lot, and you'll see when you get a copy of that from Christine, there are 3 major cost reductions we put in place. And it's really paid off big dividends. And I think going for the next 30 years, for supervisors and boards to come, they'll be in pretty good shape financially because the debt is down. This Legoland community host fee is going to bring mega dollars. We have a $9 million budget this year coming up. And 528,000 of it is that one I just talked about. Good question. Good, yeah, sure. He's one of the guys negotiated.
No, you can quantify specifically what is coming into the town, but there's other factors that are a little bit harder to quantify. And I'll just give you 2 examples. One example is the Lancey's restaurant. The owner told me that his business since Legoland opened is up 30%. His biggest problem that he has now is he can't get people to work the hours that he needs those people to work. So he's hoping that Limoncello's opens up really quickly. That's kind of interesting, right? Second business is Trailside Treats. You go down there and you start, when it's over now for the season, but when the season was warmer, people there, you go down, you go online, and people would be talking about the day that they had at Legoland and what a great time they had at Legoland and so on and so forth. So his business is going off the charts. And I'm sure, the diner, Dunkin' Donuts, and, all those other types of things. So initially it was being said that, well, those people are going to just come off the highway and then go in there and then zip down 17 and go back to the city. But apparently that's not happening. It's causing a nice economic boom to Goshen as well. And, that's harder to quantify, but it's nice to hear.
Is there any way to quantify the added expenses that the town incurs due to Legoland?
Yeah, they're none. They're none.
There's none?
None. They plow their own snow because it's a state road out there to get to it. If they request a policeman up there, they pay for the policeman and the car for the day. They have their own security. But no, all those things were worked out in the planning stage, and it's to our betterment, to your betterment, that where we're at. Yeah. Have you been up there at all?
No.
Here's, I'll tell you two stories. I have this lady friend, and so we go up there, and they have this elephant. It's made out of 1 million Legos glued together, and I'm just, it's beyond I couldn't believe this elephant is full size glued Legos, and I'm looking at it. She taps me in the shoulder, and she points down. And there are two little boys, probably 4 or 5 years old, laying on their backs under the elephant, feeling its stomach. They're 100 miles away in their cognitive thing. The next day, we walked another 50 or 60 feet, and there's this bench. And it has a little Lego girl, she's blonde, one a redhead, one a brunette, and one little girl of color. And what the children do is they sit between them and have their photographs taken next to these Lego girls. Well, this little girl, she's about 4 years old. She goes over and she sits on the blonde's lap, puts her arm around the neck, looks up, and then puts her finger up her nose. That place is, that's what you see. 2.5-year-olds to 12-year-olds. If you have any family members, they will have the time for their life. So that's just the day I was there. I'm not 2.5 years old. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay. Yes, Bob?
So with regard to this, Claude Smith, Mary,
I'm sorry, spell that?
What, Bob or
Smith.
How do you think that might be? I just spelled Bob Smith.
no E on the end.
No,
No,
why.
with the development, I was
Yeah.
thinking, is the county or the state or anyone planning any future roads? I mean,
Yes.
Craigville and Sarah, we're driving on cow roads.
The Route 86 or 17 is going to be widened and made to Route 86.
Yeah, but that's not it. I'm talking about people getting around. Today, I was at Southwest at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a left. There was no way in hell was I making a left unless I sat there for an hour.
Well, those are state roads and the state DOT.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah,
Is,
they-
well, if no one's thinking about roads in the future, that's how Rockland got where they are. They have that Route 59, I guess it is.
Yeah.
They have that.
Well, I can
What-
share-
what are we
I can-
gonna have?
I can share this.
207?
I'm going to share with this. When Legoland came up with their engineer, they're going to use the South Creek Bridge, this and that. DOT, New York Department of Transportation, said to them, hey, we're going to make this out here, Route 86, internet, it's going to be a interstate highway. And this and that, and all such things, you're putting a $45 million exit in and all that kind of stuff. So I think, and I know that the Orange County Partnership is putting a lot of pressure on Albany to Orange County, Sullivan County, all the way down to the city of modernizing the roads to handle the traffic that's going to be. Because it's just not Goshen that's growing. It's the whole area. And so it's a very good question.
My question is, so you do 17, big deal. I mean, you go out here at
17M is going to have to be done too.
No, you go out here at Craigville at 207 in the morning.
Yep.
And the traffic coming in
Right.
from
Campbell Hall and such.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Campbell Hall.
Rick comes late flip?
That's right.
And I think it's even lesser now than it was before COVID and everything.
Well, you know what it is, before
Yeah,
the county building, when they built the county building, it came in. And then they had COVID, everybody's working from home, now all of a sudden it's coming back, and what happened? And so, yes, you're right, and again, that's a state road. And the state of New York is gonna have to do and there's, by the way, there's a group working on this. The state and the counties are all working on this.
So in other words, it's hopeless.
I don't think there's any additional roads that are being considered new roads to be built. I'm not talking about widenings, but brand new roads, which is what you were referencing. I don't think either county or state are considering any new roads.
So, I mean, in the afternoon at 207 and Craigville, it's backed up past the cemetery at the Salesian.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're gonna get more growth and more, there's no way we can't be rocked. So there's nobody.
Well,
can
you know,
make
we've got
the
five-
rosy picture.
We've had 500 homes built. The village has had 500 homes built with Heritage. That's 1,000 homes.
Phil,
Yours, Bill. And so that's two cars per family. That's 2,000 automobiles and all the trips that they make. Yeah, you're right. Go ahead, Phil.
They did a study, they have plans all over the place of that particular intersection that you're talking about. They've done extensive studies on that, and they talked about putting rotaries down there and so on and so forth. They brought artist rendition.
Craigville and 207.
Craigville and 207, yeah.
You know, I solved that
Coming in.
problem for them 15, 20 years ago. When the house on the corner was for sale and before Griffin moved the farmhouse, they could have bought both of those and put it straight into the section.
That's right. Yeah, but the
They didn't
problem,
listen to me.
but a lot of it is the traffic coming from Route 207 into Goshen.
That's right.
Not off Craigville Road, but coming into Goshen. That's where it's backed up, like you said.
Right, but
And they
that's
had
also Craigville too.
I'm sure you have to dust them off, but they have studies this high. I just remember that was a big project, and all of a sudden, like you said, it's on the shelf someplace.
But, and then the other thing is you try and come the other way, come through town at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Between 4, I mean, we actually have a rush hour.
Yeah.
It'll take you sometimes 2, 3 lights to get through it.
So I think at least four of us, were here when there was no light in Goshen.
I was,
None. None.
there was a
No
blinker,
light.
there was a blinker.
You're a new.
No.
There was no, when I grew up, there was no light.
No.
It was only 150 farms you came.
Try this one. I'll try this one. When I was growing up, they had one police car. It was a 1954 Chevrolet. It was parked at the fountain. And they would put a sign in the window, meet me, I'll be walking up on Murray Avenue, Lincoln Avenue, and so forth and so on. And I was working in, it was Baxter's this last one. Before that, it was Strong's Drugstore. And it was a Sunday afternoon, minding my own business. And all of a sudden, this lady came in. She was probably, let's say 100 pounds overweight, with short shorts on. And Uncle Stanley, that what they called, Uncle Stanley was the chief of police. He came in and said, ma'am, you're gonna get back in your car. You're gonna have to get back in your car. Women over 16 years old are not allowed to wear shorts in the village. And she came and she wanted a pack of Pall Mall cigarettes. I remember that. They were 25 cents a pack. And I said, well, Uncle Stanley, can I get her the cigarettes? And she's asked for, yes. So I gave her the cigarettes and a pack of matches. And she took that 25 beat and slammed that in my hand, and she went out the door and had a steak. Well, that was Goshen. Simple time. And cows, that was it. Now the cows are gone. Thousands of people are moving here.
The cars are replaced.
And what?
And the cars have replaced.
Oh my gosh, another police department. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about that.
And cigarettes are $20 a pack.
And everybody wears shorts.
At least,
And nylon.
you know.
Where are we headed?
Where are we going?
What's gonna happen next?
guy.
Oh, boy. Well, I think we better adjourn the meeting.
Mickey
Folks,
Mouse.
thank you very much. Okay, you take care of that. Would someone can make a motion to adjourn the meeting? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Good to see you, Mary.
You too, Rick. Take care of yourself.
All right, thank you, you
Which house
too.
is yours? Boxwood. That's one road I haven't gone on yet. I'm gonna be doing that. Oh, right.